What's going on, everyone? So, got some criticism for Rob Pelinka. Tyler, what? You're about to criticize Rob Pelinka? That's correct. I am about to criticize Rob Pelinka. Um, Look, I'm somebody that's been very defensive of Rob Pelinka, not because of anything in particular. It's just most of the things that I see people criticize Rob Pelinka for is either A, not his decision, he had no control over, or is just blatantly wrong, right? Like the big one is like the Russell Westbrook situation, right? People look at the Russell Westbrook situation and blame Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka had nothing to do with that. Rob Pelinka wasn't even thinking or trying to get Russell Westbrook, right? LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook went to Anthony Davis' house. They hung out. They talked about how they'd love to play together because Russ always wanted to go home to LA. And they all said that they'll do whatever it takes to make it work. They go tell Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss says, hey, trade for Russell Westbrook, right? I've heard people go, well, Rob Pelinka should have said no. Tell you what, you go to your job and you go to your boss, and the next thing they tell you to do, you tell them no and see how long you would have been there. You know what would have happened? Rob Pelinka would have been fired, and then Jeannie Buss would have brought somebody in that would have just done the trade anyway. So might as well get the trade done and keep your job, right? I don't blame him for that, right? And then he goes and turns that into Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, and then Jeannie Buss vetoes it and whatnot, right? A lot of the things that people criticize Rob Pelinka for weren't even his undoing, right? Like people talk about, he traded the championship roster. He didn't do that right away, right? Like Lakers won the championship and then literally upgraded the roster, were once again the best team in the league, and then got plagued by injuries, right? If LeBron James isn't on one leg and Anthony Davis doesn't go down, Lakers probably win back-to-back, right? And you're talking like Andre Drummond got hurt. You had Dennis Schroeder who ended up getting COVID and he was never the same, right? That team got plagued by injuries, right? So again, but Tyler, what's your criticism of Rob Pelinka? The fact that he hasn't gotten a center, right? Now, I don't blame him for the Mark Williams situation in particular, right? Because again, I don't believe that they anticipated him failing his physical for one. I don't think they backed out of it because they got cold feet or any of that. Like the entire world was praising Rob. The entire world was like, dude, the Lakers might have just won the NBA championship, right? Like he was there was talks like, oh, he's GM of the year. Like I don't think he got cold feet and was like, ooh, maybe I'm overpaying. No, I just don't buy that. And if that was the case, I think Charlotte probably would have challenged that and forced the trade because they would have had proof. It's kind of hard when you're like, yeah, you see all this stuff? Yeah, he failed, right? So, and they spent so long working out the Luka trade. It was over a month that, by the time you got there, you kind of were like rushing last minute. So I don't really blame him for the Mark Williams trade. I know hindsight is always 20/20. Would the Lakers have won with Mark Williams? Probably. I think so, in my opinion. But you also don't know. It's very different when you're playing on a team like Charlotte that you don't have to play your most physical, over-the-top game as possible on a nightly basis because you're tanking for the bottom and you're a bad team rather than a team like the Lakers that are trying to get the best seeding, trying to win an NBA championship, right? Like, so would he have held up on a team like the Lakers? I don't know, maybe. Two, you're going into a Minnesota Timberwolves matchup, which is the most physical team probably in all of basketball. So again, would he have held up, right? There's a lot of questions with Mark Williams still. So I don't blame him for backing out of the Mark Williams trade. I trust the Lakers training staff. I trust that they made the right call. But I blame Rob Pelinka for the lack of center, period, right? Again, there's a lot of things you can criticize Rob Pelinka for. And I think the lack of center is one of them because, again, this is something that needed to be addressed before Anthony Davis's trade, right? Before the Anthony Davis departure, right? Like, even if you planned on keeping Anthony Davis at the center position and you didn't want to get a starting center alongside him, you needed a legit, competent backup, right? You needed a guy that you could plug in on a regular basis. And for years, the Lakers have needed a center. Anthony Davis has wanted a center. He has pleaded for a center, and Lakers have failed to get a center. Now, again, the starting center position is something that look, as long as LeBron is on this team, he's probably playing the 4, right? So I don't think, Anthony Davis and Miles Turner, I just don't think LeBron's sliding over and playing the 3. Who knows? Maybe he would have. We're never going to know, right? But if you would have gotten a legit, competent, legit backup center, now we're talking, right? Like if you would have went and pulled off, even like a Clint Capella or something like that, right? Like all of a sudden you have somebody that can plug in that's better than Jackson Hayes, that could be the difference maker, they could be that lob threat, they could offensive rebound, that could, block shots and do this and do that and do the other, right? Like you're in a very different situation, a very different circumstance. But Rob Pelinka failed to find that center, right? I think Rob Pelinka is a good GM. Rob Pelinka has had more success. I mean, a guy like Daryl Morey is looked at as the best GM in all of basketball, and Rob Pelinka has had more success than him in literally half the time, right? Daryl Morey is another one, but like you look at what Rob Pelinka has done. Won a championship, been to conference finals, right? Like probably would have won 2 championships. You can make an argument they could have won 3 because 2020 they won. 2021, if guys don't get hurt in COVID, they probably win again. And then if the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner trade goes through, Lakers probably, I think they have a really good chance of beating Denver, like in all honesty, right? Because now you would have had a better matchup. You would have Miles Turner and Anthony Davis to match up against Jokic. So, there's a genuine argument that like, hey, Lakers might have 3 championships under their belt, but they don't. They have 1. And again, he got his extension, which you go and trade for Luka. You're absolutely getting an extension. And I'm all for it. I wasn't against the extension at all. Cool. I'm glad. But the fact that you have known for years that we need a center and we have failed to get any type of competent center, that's where it's like, okay, it's becoming malpractice at this point, right? You have to get at least 2 centers this offseason. Bare minimum. You need a legit starting center and then a legit backup center. Whether that's a Mark Williams and a Clint Capella or whatever it is, you need to do that. You need to fix that. You need to get that done. Otherwise, we have some real problems, right? So if you want to criticize Rob Pelinka, criticize him for the failure of not getting a center the last few years when the Lakers have needed a center. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts? How do you agree? Disagree? Kind of mixed in the middle? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps with that. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.